Space Apps 2020. This is like an auspicious day as we have very great and amazing guest speakers with us today. And for the first guest speaker, we have a very respected person among us today. So I would like to, without any further ado, I have this honor to introduce him. And without any further ado, I would like to start. So he is an expert in synthetic organic chemistry, worked as a senior research scientist, and dealt with various interesting projects. Easygoing, adaptable, and down-to-earth person with a very strong leadership quality. Expert in NMR technique with experience in solving complex structure using 2D NMR spectra. Expert in column chromatography with great knowledge using ISco system for separation of complex mixtures. Well versed with mass spectroscopy and expert in HPLC and working knowledge of GCMS, working knowledge of AMF and UV-Vis spectroscope. He is the research scientist at Kathmandu Institute of Applied Sciences, KIAS. This is our honorable, very respected person, Dr. Mahendra Thapa, sir, as our guest speaker. We are very pleased to have you here, sir.
It's my pleasure again. Thank you, Sansi. But I'm very sad that you didn't introduce me as a teacher. Huh?
Yeah. I'm so sorry, sir. So if I missed, of course, I have missed this, but he is an excellent teacher. He was, I got to like meet him from KWS, and he's such an approachable and such an amazing person. We are very honored to have you here, sir.
It's my pleasure again. Now, is it open for me or should I still
Yes,
wait?
sir. This floor is open to you, sir. All yours, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sansi, for introducing me. Okay, and then I feel like I know most of the people. That's nice. Okay, basically, Sansi told me the things about me. By degree, I am a chemist. I have worked in a chemical industry at the position of senior research scientist. I used to do a lot of problem-solving things. That's why I'm going to talk about solving problems and what is the importance of solving problems here. And anytime, if you have any confusion or anything you want to talk to me or ask me, you can just unmute yourself and then you can ask, or you can just raise your hand and then we can do it, okay? So basically today I will be talking about, please let me share the screen.
Sure, sir. Wait a minute. I will make you the co-host. So I think it's possible now.
Okay. Can you all see my screen?
So it's starting. Yes, sir. We can see it.
Okay, today I'll be talking about 6 hat principles for solving problems, okay? This is very interesting. The hat I have presented here, it doesn't mean anything, but actually it's a metaphorical hat. And then you'll be wearing this kind of hats to solve the problems. And it is a really interesting thing to do, okay? Starting my talk, I would like to go and talk about sustainable goal. Have anybody heard of this thing? Have you heard of a term called sustainability? If no, that's fine. If you can prolong a program and make it self-running, those kind of thing is called a sustainable program. For example, you start up a business. Initially, you inject money into it, but after a certain time, what happens is if the business starts generating money so that you don't have to re-inject the money into that business, then your business is said to be sustainable. Okay, nowadays what happens is the world is trying to make everything sustainable, most importantly in terms of environment. And there are various things that are required to make the thing sustainable. And one of the most important thing is to make a person a better learner. And it is said that we need different kind of skills or different kinds of learning to become or to help this world become sustainable at this 21st century. Now, what happens is the world is rapidly changing. See, when I was doing my PhD in US, we didn't have mobile phones. By the time I was doing, I had completed my PhDs, we had GPS. So the world is rapidly changing in so fast pace that now what you have to do is you'll have to be able to adapt to this kind of environment. So there are various types of areas where there is focus in learning, and these are called 21st century learning. But before that, let me tell you, yet, unfortunately, in a country like ours, we are not following the 21st century learning skills or 21st century learning. Instead, we are still following the learning practice of 20th century, where it's also called industrial age, okay? This one is called a digital age. 20th century was called industrial age. Now, what was required in the industrial age? You would require certain kind of skills. For example, if you knew how to make braids or dough, then that skill would let you have a job in a factory where you make breads. If you knew how to fill ink in a pen, then you would go and get a job in an ink filling company. If you knew how to ride bikes, maybe you'd get some kind of job in a delivery company. But now what is happening is, have you heard of a term called AI?
Yes, sir.
I guess,
Artificial
yes.
intelligence.
Yes, AI is
Yes,
artificial
sir.
intelligence. Now, what are the people trying to do is they're trying to make machine as intelligent as us. You must have known that our brain has a capacity of 25 million gigabytes storage capacity, okay? That's a huge processing capacity. And people are trying to mimic our brain so that the machine does our work. In recent cases, we are also trying to write a project in which we are trying to build a robot in which these robots can go and take the temperature measurement of a person who is suspected of coronavirus infection. So now, in this case, what happens is you don't need a person to go and take the temperature measurement of those kind of person. First thing, it is safe. It is very secure, but at the same time, what happens is people are losing jobs. If we had to have somebody who would go and measure the temperature, now the machine will do it. So there are both pros and cons with the development of science. And nowadays what happens is job market is being shifted. When I was working in industry, I was always facing this kind of things. The client would come to me, the vendor would come to me, and they would say that I have this kind of problem. I know the problem. I want you to solve the problem. So here, now what happens is the world requires a problem solver, okay? We know that there are problems, so you are required to solve the problems. Before going into problem solving, I would like to explain on three different things, or four C's. These are very, very important things for all the high school kids like you to have. And these are communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, okay? What happens is, I know this is a kind of boot camp, right? So you are doing some kind of problem solving thing. Am I correct? Are you all doing some kind of problem solving in this program that is conducted by NASA?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes.
So during this problem solving, do you often come together, talk, get your views, and then proceed forward?
Yes,
I
sir.
think I think you do it a lot of time. So that is called collaboration. Okay, that's called collaboration. Now, what happens is, although it sounds very simple, collaboration is the most important thing. And whenever you look for the job interview or job application, one of the things that doesn't miss most of the time is we need a team player. That's the one of the most important requirement for the job companies or job provider. What is team player? A person who can collaborate. Why is that? Because collaboration requires self-respect, It also requires respecting others' views. It diminishes egos, and it helps you to come together and solve a problem. Therefore, collaboration is one of the most important things that you have to have, and you always try to do that. Try to collaborate. Nowadays, a single person cannot solve most of the problems, so you need multidisciplinary approach to solve the problem, and that requires collaboration. Next one is communication. Let me not go into details about our high scale of communication. Let's just take an example. For example, let's take this online classes. And then in online classes, we don't have a face-to-face interaction. We are not close to each other. You might have so many problems. You may not understand what the teacher is talking about, or you might have missed the previous classes. If you do not explain this thing to your teacher, he or she will not be able to find out that you did not understand the classes. So what happens if you do not communicate, then the problem will start compounding, it will start accumulating. Once the problem starts accumulating, it'll be very difficult to get it solved. So other important factors that you have to always keep in mind is communication, no matter what it is, be it good or bad. You'll have to communicate with the problems. You'll have to communicate with the people. You'll have to communicate with the society. You'll have to communicate with the friends. You'll have to communicate with the teachers. So what does this communication do? It'll help you understand what's your problem. You'll make your problems clear. And next thing is what happens sometimes, misconception and misunderstandings will also be cleared using communication. One more thing, later on, if you want to become an entrepreneur or you want to do a business or you want to set up your own company, what happens is communication is the most important thing that you have to do. Be with respect to your company's profile, be with respect to your company's mission and vision, be its product, be its marketing. So that's what communication is required. You'll have to do it. And as a bully saying, what happens is if you are going into some kind of good schools like Ivy League schools, or even Nepal, maybe there is a practice now, mostly undergrad program ko lagi, MBA programs ko lagi, KU ko BBA program ko lagi, they'll have an entrance exams, written entrance exam, and then they will have follow-up programs like it's a group work or it's a kind of talk programs. It's also an interview program where they will look at your communication skill, because that is very, very important. Next thing is creativity. Okay, that's, we will not go anywhere if we are not creative. Okay, and creativity can be improved. As a misconception, creative is inburned, but that's not true. You can change your brain. You can change the structure of your brain. You can change the structure of the connections of your brain. The neuron connections are changed on Milja. The way you think can change the brain structure. That's called neuroplasticity. Therefore, creativity can be implanted. Okay, you can say that I was not creative in my school level, but when I went to high school, I become very creative. You can do that. That thing happens also. Okay, so creativity is not something that is inborn. It can be implanted, it can be made artificial, but that requires a lot of practice and a lot of thinking. Now, next important thing I'm talking about is critical thinking. Okay, I'll not talk about critical, but I'll talk about thinking. And believe me or not, thinking is a very, very difficult process, and most of us, we don't do appropriate thinking. Okay, our brain has a total mass of 2% compared to our whole body. Our brain mass is 2% compared to our whole body, but it uses almost 20% of the energy that is generated in the body. So what does your brain do? It thinks. So thinking is not an easy process. Thinking is a very, very difficult process. And what happens again, when you think, your neuron will connect together, and the way the neurons are connected together, accordingly your habits will develop, and accordingly you'll start behaving. Therefore, the most important thing in your life can be thinking. Now again, in thinking also, or critical thinking also, you have so many things like reasoning, analyzing, decision making, evaluation, and problem solving. But today I'll be especially focusing on problem solving, okay? So what are problems? What are the approach of solving problems? What are the general tendency? How do people try to solve the problem? and what are six different hats of solving problem, and how can you use that. That's what I'll be focusing. That's what I'll be talking on. Now, I want you to read this thing. Can anybody volunteer here? Two of you. One will become Ram and the other will become Ramesh. Any two?
You can unmute yourself and then study, okay? Please unmute yourself. You can unmute
Sir, may
yourself.
I?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be the Ram Sonika.
Okay.
Hi, Ramesh. How is your mom doing?
Man, I don't know what to say.
Why? What is the matter? Is everything fine?
No, man, it isn't. She's been feeling unwell for about a month.
Have you not taken her to the doctor? I bet you have. So don't worry, man. Things will get straight.
Yes, I have. Not one, but many doctors, but no proper diagnosis. The doctor is yet to find what is going on with her.
Okay. Thank you very much for volunteering. Now, what do you think here? What is the main reason, like her or Ram's mother is not feeling well, or why is not she getting better? Okay, we had a conversation between Ram and Ramesh, and then what we found out here is Ram's mother is not feeling well. Oh no, who is that? Ramesh's mother is not feeling well. So why do you think Ramesh's mother is not feeling well here, or why did she not get better? We know that Ramesh's mother is not feeling well, but why did she not get better?
So because she failed to get proper diagnosis by
That's
doctor.
that's good. We are yet to find out the problem. What is the problem that's going on with Ramesh's mother? Okay, that's what we are yet to find out. Now, you see, what do you think, as I said again, identification of the problem is the first step towards solution. So if you cannot identify the problem, you'll not come into solution. Therefore, never run away from the problem. Everybody in this world have problems. If you look at a 2-year-old kid, he may have problem in standing up, or maybe he may have problem in talking. Maybe he may have problem in running. When you look at yourself, you may have problem with your grades. You may have problem with your relationship. You may have problem with your thoughts. You may have problem with your doing. If you look at me also, I also have my own problems. Not me. Even the CEO of an Apple company will have a problem. So problem is everywhere. It's omnipresent. What we have to do is we'll have to accept that our life will have problems. Once you accept this, then only you'll shift your attention towards solving the problem. Therefore, the first takeaway from this thing is you will never run away from the problem. Now, what is very important is how do you approach a problem? That's very, very important. As I said again, everyone has a problem. Not only humans, animals, insects, everything will have the problems, okay? And the approach, how do you deal with the problem is very, very important, and that will determine whether you will succeed. I mean, succeed in terms of happiness, okay? In terms of career. So if you approach the problem correctly, then what happens is you can succeed, okay? Facing and solving problems make you resilient and confident. That's what happens. If you start solving the problems, if you start looking at these things, and if you start again dealing with the problems, it will make you more resilient. The first time you face a problem, you may have some kind of nervousness, some kind of lack of confidence. But once you start dealing with the problems, what happens? You'll start getting used to the problems. You'll try to think it in a normal way. And then what happens is success is always there to come for you. Now, there are basically two ways of thinking, okay? I'm going to talk about thinking, and that will culminate into solving problems. There are two basic ways of thinking. One is called a conventional thinking method. For example, here, you can read it out, okay? The problem is, I ran through a red light, okay? Now, somebody asks you, why did you run through the red light? Because I was late for work. Why were you late for the work? I woke up late. Why did you wake up late? My alarm clock broke. And did you not check it? Or why did your alarm clock broke? Because I didn't check it if it worked. Why did you not check it? Because I forgot to do it last night. So this type of problem solving is just why. It's a 5 why. That's a very popular concept, okay? Very popular concept that's called 5 why concepts. And this concept was first developed by a company that's called Toyota. Do you know the company called Toyota?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I think everybody knows that. It's a very popular company. It's a company that sells a lot of cars. Nowadays, they are trying to develop hybrid cars and hydrogen fuel cars. So this 5 why concept was developed in order to get a lateral thinking. खाली एउटा क्वेसन आउँछ त्यसको एउटा आन्सर आयो फेरि त्यसलाई why भने फेरि अर्को आन्सर आयो फेरि why भने you'll get an answer. Okay? And in most of the cases, what happens is we do. Let me stop this here and then. In most of the cases, try to, what you do is try to portray yourself again. Now what we have is, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we have a problem here. Let's say that's a problem, okay? And there are 3 people trying to solve the problem. Okay, there are 3 people, let's say this is A, and we have B, and then we have C. These are 3 different people who are trying to solve the problem. What is the general way we do is, we try to take the opinion of all of these A, B, and C. Okay, now let's say, what is the problem and what do you think about this? What we do is, A starts talking, and what is our natural tendency? It's a natural tendency, it's for everybody, okay? Our natural tendency is to oppose somebody else talking. That's our natural tendency. So especially if you are of your same age or if you are in the same age group, then what happens is, while A is talking, this B starts thinking that maybe A is not true, and then he starts giving another, he or she starts giving another view. And what does C do again? He or she try to put another approach to this problem. Now what happens here is a kind of confrontation, okay? It's a kind of confrontation. So this type of approach of solving the problem will take you a long time. Furthermore, it will take you long time or long discussion to come into a single or univocal type of solution. Why? Because our tendency is to always oppose somebody else. That is science, okay? Believe me or not, what science says is, if somebody else is talking and giving a solution to the problem, the other person will try to avoid this kind of thought, and he or she will try to give their own thought. Again, when these people are talking, the other person will develop their own thought and they will try to implant their own thought. So coming to a univocal kind of solution is very difficult. So this type of thinking is called a conventional thinking or conventional thought. Okay, so this is a conventional kind of thought. But what does conventional kind of thought do sometimes? Sometimes conventional kind of thought will help you solve the problem, because if that is the case of authoritative, just like I'm the boss, I already know what to do. तर मैले देखाउनलाई कसैको ओपिनियन लिनलाई मात्रै चाहिँ I say okay, this is the problem and then we need to solve it in this way भनेर मैले देखाउँछु. In that way चाहिँ lateral thinking चाहिँदैन. It's a conventional thinking, one way thinking ले चाहिँ it's all done. Most of the case मा religious उहिले चर्चहरुमा religionहरुमा, even Einstein also had a conventional thought. Plato भयो, Socrates भयो. Have you heard of Sigmund Freud? Okay, this guy, all they promoted a unidirectional and conventional thoughts. You have a problem. For example, I said, I want to make money. I want to make money. Problem. Most of the people who are thinking in a conventional way would say, just work hard or get a good job, get a good company where you get money. Work hard, you get more money. Or do a business and then you get money. Okay, so there is only one way of thinking. काम गर पैसा कमाऊ, अथवा व्यापार गर पैसा कमाऊ, अथवा do something and then you get a money भन्ने खालको कुरा आउँछ. But we do not think in a multilateral way. That's called conventional way. Although, as I said, conventional way sometimes can be very important if you are a boss र आफ्नो कुरा अथोरिटेटिभ तरिकाले चाहिँ इम्प्लिमेन्ट गर्नु छ भने this kind of thinking is very important. But in a democratic world where you respect each and everybody, what happens is conventional thinking is not that effective. Then what kind of thinking is being promoted in this world nowadays? Then it's called a lateral thinking. Okay, what is lateral thinking? It's the process of thinking a problem in all the possible ways that you can think about. For example, अघिकै एक्जाम्पलमा लिँदाखेरि I want to make money भन्ने कुरा आयो. Okay, I want to make money. So अघि unidirectional thinking मा चाहिँ के थियो, just go and do a work or get a good company or get a business and then you get money भन्ने थियो. But here there are many types of questions that you have. First question के हुन सक्छ भने okay, get a good job and get a money. That can be one thing. अर्को के question आउन सक्छ त भन्दाखेरि why do you need money? अब मेरो चाहिँ maybe I want money to go around the world. अब अर्को question अर्को तरालाई के सोचिन्छ भने do we really need to work hard and do you really need to make more money to go around the world? अब जस्तै हामीले हाम्रो अरू expenses घटाएर पनि पैसा जोगाएर maybe we can solve that problem. Okay, or what we can do is instead of doing one work तिमीले multiple ठाउँमा invest गरेर पनि आउन सक्छ होला. Or what you can do is you can make a self-sustaining business so that you can go around the world whereas the business keeps on pouring money into your pocket. So solving or thinking a problem in multiple direction, all the possible direction is called lateral thinking. And as saying world most democratic companies are or most developed people early, most civilized people early, and then most competitive world the way of thinking and solving problem is lateral thinking. I think, are you clear what I say about lateral thinking? And this guy is called Edward D. Bruno, okay? And he is the one who formulated the 6 hat principles. And he explained the creativity, okay? Can somebody read it here? Can somebody read it?
Yes, sir. Can I?
Yes.
There is no doubt that creativity is the most important human resource of all. Without creativity, there would be no progress, and we would be forever repeating the same patterns.
Same patterns. Okay, see, that's how important is creativity. And this guy, Edward D. Bruno, was so creative. He looked into brain science, he looked into human psychology, he looked into the behavior of the human beings, and then developed a technique in which we are very easily able to solve the problem with a univocal consensus. अघिको केसमा के थियो त भन्दाखेरि सबैले के गर्थे त भन्दाखेरि आफ्नो भोइसलाई अगाडि बनाउनलाई, आफ्नो भोइसलाई चाहिँ एक्सेप्टेड सोल्युसन बनाउनलाई everybody would fight. Somebody would say do this thing and then other would say no, this had a problem, let's do this thing. Other would say let's do this thing, let's do this thing. So there was no univocal solution. But this guy developed a pattern in which he used the metaphorical 6 hats, and this pattern or this techniques will help you to build a univocal solution, that too in a very short time. So that is called brainstorming using 6 hats, okay? And as I said again, this is not a real hat. This is a metaphorical hat. This is an imaginary hat. You'll behave differently when you are using this kinds of hat. And then based on the hat you are wearing, you will think differently. At the same time, sometimes you're opposing the thoughts, whereas you are sometimes supporting the thoughts. So you are at the same time changing from one personality to the other personality. That is very interesting. After this talk, you can go home or you stay at home and try this thing yourself. That'll be a fun. Okay, what is 6 hat again? With the 6 hat thinking, you adopt a parallel thinking. What does that mean? अघिको केसमा हामीले के भनेको थियो त भन्दाखेरि there is a problem like one of the person would say one thing and the other will try to oppose the thing, negate the thing. यस्तो होइन, यसो गरे भने यो राम्रो हुन्छ भन्ने कुराहरु चाहिँ गरेर अपोज गर्ने गर्थ्यो. तर यहाँ चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने there is a problem and everybody is going in the same direction. They are not opposing each other. They are trying to go in the same direction. Therefore, यसबाट आएको solution will be very faster and very useful. Okay, so with six-hat thinking, you adopt a parallel thinking process that examines an issue from different angles. Each hat has a different color that represents a specific mindset. And that's very interesting. As I said again, there are no six different person. Hey, it's not, you need to be very careful. There are no six different person. You yourself will be wearing six different kind of hat. So you'll be switching from one mindset to another mindset, and you are looking at the problems in six different ways. You're looking in the problem at by six different ways. So finally, you'll come to the solution. Okay, first I'll explain all the types of hats, and then how can we use this hat, we'll try to discuss it later. So the first hat I'll be talking about is the white hat. Okay, white hat is when you wear a white hat, you are always thinking, all of you, not only one, just like कुनै पनि problem solve गर्नलाई you have 10 people are there. Now 10 people, let's say oigo problem, I want to make money when the problems are. Now there are 10 people trying to solve that problem. Our 10 people, they are using white hat. All of them are wearing the white hat, supposedly imaginary white hat. And what is white hat? It's about the information. Okay, what do you do with the white hat? What do I know about the problem? When I say मैले पैसा किन कमाइन त, what is that? Stats हेर्छु मैले. What is the data? Why did I not make money? Maybe out of 10 hours, I just work only 2 hours. Or maybe I'm working in a company that often does not pay well. मैले चाहिँ higher राम्रो कम्पनीमा काम पाउने हुँदा हुँदै पनि I am not working in a good company. Or अर्को कुरा के हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि I am making money but I'm wasting money in some other things. So basically, when you are wearing a white hat, you are just looking at the information and data, fact. What do I know about the problem? This is one thing you'll be talking about. What don't I know about the problem? How can I learn about this problem? That's what you'll be thinking. So you'll be thinking about facts. And what is your role? Your role is like a detective. Data collect गर्नलाई you are working as a detective. And what does it symbolize? Objectivity and neutrality. You are not biased. Okay, you are not biased. कुनै पनि problem छ, problemलाई चाहिँ bias नभइकन, you are just looking on the base of fact. जस्तै म 5 feet 6 inches भने मैले तिम्रै अगाडि नापे भने, can I tell that I am 6 feet? No, that's के भयो, bias. That's not true. So you think on the basis of data available to you. Okay, and what should be the role? Your role should be as a detective. You'll have to symbolize neutrality and objectivity, and you should always avoid making judgment. Data त्यसको fact को आधारमा मात्रै बोल्ने हुनुपर्छ. There should not be judgment. यो मैले चिनेकै मान्छे हो, यसलाई चाहिँ अलिक धेरै तल पाउँछस् भन्दिउँ न, अथवा चाहिँ यसरी चाहिँ काम गर्छ भन्दिउँ न भन्ने खालको if you have a judgmental thing, then that is wrong. Then you are not wearing the white hat. Okay. Now what you are looking into, you are looking into facts. You are not looking into opinions and belief. You are just looking into the facts. That is the white hat. Now next thing is a red hat again. It's about emotion and gut feeling. Okay, we don't talk about the facts or data. Just what happens is, the exams मा चाहिँ टिचरले यो क्वेशनहरु आउँछ भनेर तिमीलाई एउटा सिट दिनुभएको छ, तर पनि तिमीलाई भित्रभित्रै के लाग्यो त भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो क्वेशन दिएको क्वेशनबाट मात्रै चाहिँ अथवा दिएको सेट्सहरु मात्रै नआएर फल्ना ठाउँबाट पनि क्वेशन आउँछ होला भन्ने पनि इन्ट्युसन तिम्रो छ भने, that kind of intuition you can express in the problem solving when you are wearing a red hat. So अघि white hat मा थियो तिमीले डेटा मात्रै हेर्दै थियौ, अब डेटाबाट now you have shifted to your feelings. तिमीलाई कस्तो लागिरहेछ? Okay, what are you doing? What are your thoughts? तिम्रो आफुलाई भित्रबाट लागेको चाहिँ कुरा के हो त? अब यसमा चाहिँ रोल तिम्रो केले, what is the most important thing that will guide your feeling? That's your heart. तिमीलाई के feel भइरहेछ? That is more important. And what kind of things is here? Is it right? डेटाले त यसो भन्छ, तर यसो गर्न ठीक हो त? Or मेरो gut feeling चाहिँ यस्तो छ, हुन त यस्तो भन्छ डेटाले, things are this thing, but I have this kind of intuition. भन्ने कुराहरु चाहिँ what comes? That comes through your heart. So your feelings, if you have to express your feelings in solving the problems, then that is when you are wearing a red hat. It's called objectivity ke ho ta? What is the objective? Its objective is to seek out intuition, internal feelings, gut feeling or is a ke ho? You just want to justify. Okay, and you symbolize your emotion. तिमीले दिएको सल्युसनहरुले चाहिँ तिम्रो इमोशनल फिलिङ्सहरुलाई के गर्नुपर्छ त? They will try to express it. And then अब यो चाहिँ कोही बेला कस्तो प्रब्लम हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि you have again boss. यो बोसले चाहिँ भनिसकेपछि अरूले नाइ भन्न नसक्ने स्थिति छ भने पनि त्यस्तो केसमा चाहिँ रेड ह्याट क्यान बी अ प्रब्लम बिकज यु आर नट गोइङ टु एक्सप्रेस यर फिलिङ्स हैन। जस्तै के भयो त भन्दाखेरि यहाँदेखि चाहिँ शिवपुरी हिँडेर जाउँ भनेर तिम्रो बोसले भन्नुभयो अरे। त्यसो भन्दाखेरि तिम्रो इन्टरनल फिलिङ चाहिँ यहाँबाट शिवपुरी जाँदाखेरि त हामी त थाकेर मरिहाल्छौँ नि भन्ने थियो, बट यु क्यानट एक्सप्रेस इट बिकज द्याट बस इज सो पावरफुल, तिमीले भनेको कुरा सुन्दैन भन्ने फिल हुन्छ भने यस्तो कन्डिसनमा चाहिँ इट विल बी भेरी डिफिकल्ट टु ह्याभ अ रेड ह्याट। नाउ नेक्स्ट थिङ इज अ ब्ल्याक ह्याट। ब्ल्याक ह्याट इज क्रिटिकल थिङ्किङ। अब यसमा चाहिँ तिमीले के गर्छौ त भन्दाखेरि यु विल अलवेज लुक एट द नेगेटिभ एस्पेक्ट अफ योर प्रब्लम। अब यसो गरे भने के हुन्छ त, मेबी मैले मैले चाहिँ कुनै पनि काम गर्दाखेरि त्यसमा नेगेटिभ एस्पेक्टहरु के हुन्छ, त्यसको फ्लज, व्हाट क्यान बी द फ्लज, व्हाट क्यान बी द लाइकली वर्स्ट आउटकम, that's what you will think when you are using the black hat. अब यसमा चाहिँ तिमीले जहिले पनि के गर्छौ, कसन गर्छौ। फर एक्जाम्पल यु आर ट्राइङ टु स्टार्ट अ न्यू बिजनेस। अहिले चाहिँ तिमीले के गर्न सक्छौ त भन्दाखेरि ल आईटी सम्बन्धी बिजनेस, अब एभ्रीवन इज गोइङ डिजिटल, आईटी सम्बन्धी बिजनेस थाल्छु भन्ने कुरा गर्यो भने when you are wearing the black hat you will say okay, so many people are doing this kind of IT business, how can I get a business? अब भोलि मैले इन्भेस्ट गरेँ भने तिम्रो फेरि के हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ चलेन भने मेरो कसरी चाहिँ खर्च उठाउने, अथवा सिन्स इट इज अ डिजिटल कम्पनी हाम्रो देशमा बत्ती जान थाल्यो भने अब भोलि के गर्ने होला, अथवा चाहिँ इन्टरनेटको पैसा बढ्दै गयो भने विल द पिपल बी स्टिल विलिङ टु बाई माई कस्ट अर बाई माई प्रोडक्ट। यो नेगेटिभ जुन जुन एस्पेक्ट्सहरु छ त्यो सबै नेगेटिभ एस्पेक्ट्सहरु चाहिँ वी विल थिङ्क एन्ड विल स्टार्ट टकिङ when we do our black hat thing. Black hat लगाएको बेलामा चाहिँ we will start doing this thing, okay? And then as you can see here, what is the objectivity? It's the objectivity is to eliminate bad ideas and to find out the flaws, okay? यसो गर्ने हो। यसमा चाहिँ we'll look at the data, white hat ले दिएको डेटालाई हेरेर र त्यसको worst possible scenario के हुन्छ, you'll start thinking using the black hat. Now white hat is just opposite to the yellow hat is just opposite to the black hat. Black hat ले चाहिँ के प्रब्लम हुन सक्छ, हामी फेल हुँदाखेरि के हुन सक्छ, हामीलाई कति घाटा लाग्न सक्छ, यस्तो काम नगरौँ, यसको नेगेटिभ एस्पेक्ट यस्तो छ भनेर भन्छ भने येलो ह्याटले चाहिँ के भन्छ नि, इट्स अप्टिमिस्टिक, इट विल से लेट्स डु इट, हामीले गर्न सक्छौं, यसमा फाइदा छ। What positive outcomes हामीले चाहिँ what can we get the positive from this kind of problem solving, or how can we make this really work, what is the long-term benefit of this kind of problem solving, and how can I best approach to the problem. So positive mindset, when you wear a yellow hat, you'll not think about negativity, you'll not think about your emotion, you'll not think about your data, but you will think that you can do it. Your problem solved by भने तिमीलाई फाइदा कति हुन्छ र what kind of ways you can develop in order to solve this problem, that is what you will think when you are using the yellow hat. As I say again, can you all see this screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in yellow hat again, you see what is the objective of yellow hat? It is to motivate your team members. Right? Sometimes they can be down. कति चाहिँ problem हुन सक्छ, त्यो problem हुँदाहुँदै पनि if you see more benefit, or if your benefit outweighs the problem, then what happens is you can motivate. Okay, we know that there is a problem, there is a negative aspect of this thing, but yet if we do this thing, we'll be in a profit or we'll overcome this kind of problem. Or motivation काम गर्ने चाहिँ कतिखेर हुन्छ when you wear a yellow hat, and it symbolizes faith and optimism. Okay, you'll have a positive energy यसमा. Okay, black hat चाहिँ के भन्छ, negative energy. So this way what happens is you are अघि पनि मैले भनिरहेको छु there are no 6 people, it is you. तिमीले घरि के गर्छौ त भन्दा व्हाइट ह्याट लगाउँछौ, व्हाइट ह्याट लगाएर तिमीले त्यो प्रब्लमसँग रिलेटेड सबै डेटाहरू खोतलेर you'll be talking or you'll be solving the problem only on the base of data. अर्को त्यस पछाडि you'll forget the white hat and then you'll wear a red hat. Red hat wear गरेपछि अब डेटा सेटा सबै छोड्यौ तिमीले, नेगेटिभ एस्पेक्ट पनि छोड्यौ, पोजिटिभ एस्पेक्ट पनि छोड्यौ. You are just talking about emotion. मैले यो काम गर्दाखेरि how would I feel? How would somebody feel? अथवा चाहिँ am I doing right? Am I doing wrong? So emotional aspect is with the red hat. Once you are done with the red hat, then you are wearing a black hat. Black hat ले चाहिँ के गर्छ त भन्दाखेरि problems त्योसँग कुनै पनि कुरासँग related negative aspects or के छ, what if I fail, what if it doesn't work, what if it is too hard work, काम गरे गरे पछि गएर चाहिँ काम नलाग्ने हुन्छ, or there are too much repetition, or this project is not going to work भन्ने कुरा सबै negative aspect चाहिँ you will think while you are wearing a black hat. Now after black hat you shift to a yellow hat. Yellow hat मा चाहिँ अब तिमीले के गर्छौ त, you'll not talk about negativity, you'll not talk about data, you'll not talk about emotion, but you'll think about the positive aspect of that work. यो काम गर्न सकिन्छ, if we can do this thing it'll be a better thing. So it's a kind of motivation, it's a kind of strength. Now if you have a green hat, when you are wearing a green hat you are talking about creativity. How would you do this thing differently? सबैले त्यो काम गरिरहेछ, but how would you do it different so that your project works? What is more efficient? Okay, what are the ways you can make it more efficient? And then how can you become more creative, more different, more unique to the same problem than others? So your case, when you are having a green hat, you are not thinking about emotion, you are not thinking about negativity, you are not thinking about optimism, you are not thinking about data, but you are looking at the problem to solve it very creatively. So you'll have a creative ideas coming in. Okay. Now, what is the objective of this thing? Is to provide creative solution. Okay. The objectivity of this kind of green hat is to provide solution, and that solution should be creative, to expand the possibility, awareness, and thinking. Okay? And then your role is to avoid criticism and judgment. Again, there should not be criticism and judgment. You should be thinking of ideas. For example, how can we develop a better toothbrush? Company very stupid idea, you are not trying to criticize that or judge that. You'll have to note down those ideas. And then, so we'll have multiple ideas, and then after that, we'll sort out which one is the best for that. So what is the rule? Rule or important role, you are like planting a seed. You're a seed, what happens? Expectation. What is your expectation when you plant a seed? It will grow into a plant, it will be a fruit, and then I can have that fruit. That happens, or that kind of thought will be developed when you are wearing a green hat. Now next one is a blue hat. Okay, your blue hat, it's a kind of hat where you are thinking about the thinking process. You are, for example, we have a group of 10 people. 10 people matching, we are all wearing different hats at the same time, no, at a different time. But one of the people is wearing a blue hat, imaginary blue hat. For example, we want to develop a toothbrush that is very, very suitable for kids. We are trying to develop it. When you come to a meeting call, what is the agenda of the meeting? How long will we be talking about? I mean, moderate. So moderator is a blue hat thinker, or the person who wears a blue hat is a moderator. Okay, so what does he do? His role is to manage, to gather information, to finally give a concluding remark. Okay, and process कसरी चल्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ म्यानेज गर्ने काम कसले गर्छ त? Blue hat. Normal केसमा भन्ने हो भने the boss भन्छ, but here the boss is very democratic. There is no authority boss. उसले चाहिँ खाली के गर्छ भने सबैबाट आएको इन्फर्मेसनलाई ग्यादर गर्ने, त्यसलाई रिले गर्ने, or information passer, facilitator or moderator को काम चाहिँ the blue hat will do it. Now, what are the advantages of using these different kind of hats? Okay, first thing, people are not categorized based on their behavior. हाम्रो यहाँ normal सोचाइमा के भनिरहेको छ त भन्दाखेरि if you give your opinion, कसैले के भन्छ भने you are too pessimistic भन्छ, कसैले के भन्छ भने you are too optimistic, कसैले के भन्छ भने you are realistic, कसैले भन्छ भने you are not realistic. So what happens is you are being categorized based on your behavior. तर यहाँ चाहिँ के हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि let me use the whiteboard, okay? Or is it too long? Okay, now look here.
It's going well, sir. It's really interesting. And
look here, we have a problem here now. Okay, we have a problem. What is the difference between this kind of thinking and the white hat, the six hat thinking? Now, if we have a problem, the person with the blue hat will start our session and then we'll start our discussion process. Now, if we have A, we have B and C as before, what happens is all of them will wear the same kind of hat. Okay, all of them will wear the same kind of hat. Let's say they wear a black hat at the same time. So all of these three people will think about the negative aspect of the same problem. सबैले एउटै कुरा सोच्ने हो भने there will not be confrontation. यहाँ तीनैजनाले अहिले के गरेछ, ब्ल्याक ह्याट लगाएर सोचिरहेछ भनेपछि यो प्रब्लममा नेगेटिभिटी के हुन सक्छ, पिटफल के हुन सक्छ, यसको डाउनफल के हुन सक्छ, यसको वर्स्ट कम वर्स्ट सिनेरियो के हुन सक्छ भनेर एले पनि त्यही सोचिरहेछ, बीले पनि त्यही सोचिरहेछ, सीले पनि त्यही सोचिरहेछ. So there is no confrontation. Everybody is contributing to the negative part of this problem. Now, once you are done with that thing, negative part को बारेमा सोचिसक्यो भने, now all of them will again go and wear, let's say we have a white hat. Okay, they started wearing a white hat here. Again, all three are wearing the white hat. So what they do is, they will look at the available data, and you're based on data, all three will give their own version. उनीहरूले के भन्छन् त भन्दाखेरि डेटाले यसो भन्छ भनेर उसले पनि भन्छ, डेटाले यसो भन्छ भनेर पनि उसले पनि भन्छ, उनले पनि के भन्छ त डेटाकै आधारमा बोल्छ. So same, all three people are talking about the same data भनेपछि तिनीहरुमा again there is no confrontation. Okay, so now next time maybe what happens is they are wearing again a green hat. I don't have a green here maybe. Oh yes. Next time they are wearing a green hat. So now what happens again?
Green
All
hat
you go.
people like it too.
Okay, they are wearing what? They are wearing a green hat. Now what they are trying to do is, it's my problem tha, data le yeso pani bhन्छ, but we can do this or we can solve the problem in such a creative way. They are all giving a creative solution to the same problem. हाम्रो main problem के हुन्छ भने, when we are thinking for the same problem at the same time in different ways, यो मान्छेले चाहिँ problem को बारेमा सोच्यो, उसले solution को बारेमा सोच्यो, उसले creativity को बारेमा सोच्यो भने, then there is confrontation because that is not a parallel way of thinking. अब यहाँ चाहिँ के भइरहेछ त भन्दाखेरि उसले पनि creativity तरिकाले हले what can I give this in a creative way भनेर उसले पनि creativity सोचिरहेछ, उसले पनि creativity सोचिरहेछ, उसले पनि creativity सोचिरहेछ भने that's a parallel thinking. There is never a confrontation. All of will then finally give a solution that is very creative to this. Okay, so do you find the difference between this and this? What is the problem here? यसमा चाहिँ के हुन्छ, आफ्नो आफ्नो version हुन्छ. There is no systematization of thinking process. There is no systematization. There is no parallelization. Okay, the process is all random. Whereas यहाँ चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने everybody is solving the problem in a parallel manner. नेगेटिभ खोज्ने हो भने सबैले नेगेटिभ खोजिरहेछ, पोजिटिभ खोज्ने हो भने सबैले पोजिटिभ खोजिरहेछ, त्यसको डेटा हेर्ने हो भने सबैले डेटा हेरिरहेछ, क्रिएटिभ हेर्ने हो भने सबैले क्रिएटिभिटी हेरिरहेछ. So that is what is very, very, very important, and the most important thing about this नै चाहिँ it is this thing. Next thing is your thinking is valued and considered. अब यसमा के हुन्छ भने nobody कसैको पनि feeling चाहिँ neglected छैन. Okay, अब कसैले चाहिँ normal scenario मा meeting मा बस्दाखेरि, just let me turn on the light. So what happens is कुनै कुनै मिटिङ्सहरुमा तिमीले बस्दाखेरि तिम्रो कुरा चाहिँ इट्स रफ, डोन्ट ब्रिङ इट भनेर हटाइदियो भने हाउ डु यु फिल इट? ओके, तिमीले यु थॉट अबाउट दैट प्रब्लम, यु आर ट्राइङ टु गिभ अ सोल्युसन, तर त्यहाँ चाहिँ के भन्दियो त भन्दा इट्स सच अ रबिश थिङ, यु डोन्ट ब्रिङ इट टु मी भन्यो भने यु गेट हर्ट. और तिमीले डेटाको बारेमा मात्रै लिएर चाहिँ तिमीले कुनै पनि सोल्युसन ल्याऊ, इफ यु डोन्ट टक अबाउट द इमोसन अफ अ पर्सन, देन व्हाट ह्यापन्स, इट विल स्टिल हर्ट. So यसमा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने सबैले at the same time you are thinking parallelly for the same thing. Therefore, every opinion is valid. कसैको पनि opinion wrong or right हुँदैन. There is no judgmental thing. So there is no judgment. So your opinion is valid. That's another very, very important thing again. अर्को कुरा चाहिँ के हुन्छ, ego problem goes away and constructive approach is being developed in thinking. मान्छेको के हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि मिटिङमा बस्यौ अनि तिमीले भनेको कुरा कसैले सुन्दै सुनेन भने ओहो मैले यत्रो मेहनत गरेको थिएँ मेरो कुरा सुन्दै सुनेन, अथवा बोसले माथिबाट के भन्छ भने मैले भनेकै कुरा सबै मान्नुपर्छ भनेछ भने त्यो के हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि अरूले मानिदिएन भने देयर इज एन इगो प्रब्लम, इगो इस्यु. तिम्रो साथी भाइहरुमा पनि के भयो त भन्दाखेरि यु आर अल अफ द सेम एज, यु अल ब्रिङ अ सोल्युसन, कसैको सोल्युसनलाई चाहिँ सबैले एग्री गरे कसैलाई गरेन भने अगेन त्यहाँ पनि इगो हर्ट हुन्छ. यहाँ चाहिँ के हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि वी आर डुइङ parallel solution, everybody, every opinion is respected, therefore there is no problem or issues related with the ego. And again, धेरै जसो ठाउँमा चाहिँ what happens is problem solving मा the पहिल्यैदेखि आएको अप्रोच भनेको चाहिँ change the person and the behavior will change भन्ने कुरा हो हैन. हाम्रो रिलिजनले के भन्छ भने अरु संसारलाई बदल्नु छ, सुरु आफैबाट गर्नु छ भन्छ. Change yourself, be a better person, then the society or something will be better. So what happens is we are trying to change the person in order to change the behavior and change the outcome. Right? That is true. That's scientific pani, the company लाग्छ. But the problem with this thing is it will take long time. कुनै पनि मान्छेको innate behavior लाई कुनै पनि मान्छेलाई change गर्नलाई will take long time. You using hat principle it will change the behavior, not the person. I don't care who you are, behavior. For example, I'm very rude. My behavior is rude. I'm not रिसाउने खालको छु. तर मैले अरु बाहिरतिरको मान्छेसँग राम्रो बोले, उनीहरुसँग रिसाइन भने मेरो रिसाउने बानीले अरूलाई के असर गर्छ? Okay, but if I am a short-tempered person, मैले अरूसँग पनि के गर्दैछु रिसाउँदै हिँडे भने that affects. Okay, so my behavior affects other if I behave in the same way. तर मेरो innate character एउटा छ, तर मेरो behavior त्यो भन्दा फरक छ भने whatever be me, it doesn't affect others. So white hat principle is it will change the way you deal with somebody else. जस्तै एउटा प्रब्लम तिमीले लिएर आयो, सबैजना वरिपरि सल्भ गर्न बसिरहेको छौ, तिम्रो प्रब्लम चाहिँ तिमी चाहिँ के छौ, शोर्ट टेम्पर छौ, तिमीलाई चाँडो रिस उठ्छ अथवा तिमीलाई डेटासँग मन पर्दैन, यु आर मोर इमोसनल भने पनि यहाँ के हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि तिम्रो इमोसनल पार्ट पनि समेटिन्छ, डेटा पनि समेटिन्छ, सबैको कुरा समेटिनले गर्दाखेरि के हुन्छ, the behavior will change. Person, whatever it is, the behavior will change and the outcome will also change. And again, it is impersonal. अघि मैले भने जस्तै तिमी जस्तो सुकै भए पनि we are not focusing on your behavior, your personal things, but we are completely focusing on the problem. Therefore, this is a very advantageous and very important kind of techniques. Now, finally, अब यहाँ धेरैको क्वेसन के आउँछ त भन्दाखेरि हाउ डु वी चुज द ह्याट कुनै पनि मिटिङ सुरु भयो अरे अथवा प्रब्लम आयो अरे बट हाउ डु वी चुज द ह्याट पहिला रेड ह्याट लगाएर सोच्ने होला कि ब्लू ह्याट लगाएर सोच्ने होला कि ग्रीन ह्याट लगाएर सोच्ने होला कि वान थिङ इज कुनै पनि प्रब्लम सल्भिङ अथवा कुनै पनि ग्रुप डिस्कसनमा अथवा कुनै पनि काम गर्दाखेरि द प्रोसेस सुड बी अर्गनाइज्ड therefore you need a moderator, you need a facilitator. What happens therefore is you always start thinking using a blue hat. And when your thinking process is done, thinking process सकिसकेपछि what happens again, you need a conclusion, you have to conclude it, and त्यसको लागि पनि के हुन्छ blue hat पाइन्छ. So this 6 hat principle will start with blue hat and ends in a blue hat. Now, next thing is there are two different types process of using different kind of hat. One is called a systematic hat. The other is called a evolving sequence. Systematic means already you say, okay, पहिला blue hat भइहाल्यो त्यसपछि चाहिँ अब 6 hat लाई तिमीले sequentially राख्छौ. Then we'll go from blue to maybe we'll go to yellow, yellow बाट black, black बाट green, green बाट white, and then we'll again conclude भनेर sequence पहिल्यै बनाउँछौ भने that's called systematic भयो. इभल्भिङ चाहिँ तिम्रो के भयो त भन्दाखेरि पहिला ब्लू ह्याट सुरु भयो ब्लू ह्याटबाट तिमीले येलो ह्याटमा गयौ एन्ड देन वाट ह्याट इज मोर एप्रोप्रिएट मोडरेटरले थाहा पाएर ओके लेट्स शिफ्ट टु दिस ह्याट भन्ने खालको भन्छ भने द्याट इज कल्ड इभल्भिङ ह्याट द्याट्स बेस्ड अन के हुन्छ भन्दा सिचुएसन मोस्ट अफ द टाइम चाहिँ इभल्भिङ ह्याट इज मोर प्र्याक्टिस्ड देन सिस्टमेटिक ह्याट तर यदि बसी छ हामीले मोर सिस्टमेटिक मोर अर्गनाइज छ धेरै टाइम लगाउनु छैन भने चाहिँ विल डु के भयो the systematic type of hat. अब हेर है त यो पहिला ब्लू ह्याट भइहाल्यो बीचमा के गर्ने भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ इट डिपेन्ड्स अन टाइप अफ प्रब्लम यु हेभ जस्तै एसेसमेन्ट प्रब्लम छ अरे कुनै पनि एसेसमेन्ट प्रब्लम छ अरे हामीले यो गर्न लागेको कामको चाहिँ अथवा हाम्रो यो सोल्युसनको वाट कुड द बेस्ट आउटकम भन्ने छ भने नर्मली के गर्छ भने नेभर स्टार्ट विथ अ ब्ल्याक ह्याट भन्छ ओके नेभर स्टार्ट विथ अ ब्ल्याक ह्याट पहिला ब्लू ह्याट त भइहाल्यो अब तिम्रो अलरेडी कुनै पनि प्रब्लम छ यो प्रब्लम गाह्रो छ एसेसमेन्ट गर्दाखेरि तिम्रो धेरै कुराहरू नेगेटिभ आयो भने यति धेरै नेगेटिभ आयो भने तिम्रो दिमागै कस्तो हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि यु डोन्ट गो एन्ड सिफ्ट टु द पोजिटिभ पार्ट सो त्यहीँबाट धेरै जस्तो प्रब्लमहरू अथवा त्यहीँबाट तिम्रो थिङ्किङ प्रोसेस नै बन्द हुन्छ तर एसेसमेन्ट खालको छ नेगेटिभिटी भएको कुनै पनि सोल्युसन निकाल्नु छ भने ब्लू ह्याटबाट यु सिफ्ट टु येलो ह्याटले चाहिँ के हुन्छ अप्टिमिजम दिन्छ तिमीलाई ऊर्जा दिन्छ ओके वी क्यान डु भन्छ अनि इफ यु सिफ्ट टु द ब्ल्याक ह्याट अघि यसको पोजिटिभ एस्पेक्ट थियो अब ब्ल्याक ह्याटले नेगेटिभ एस्पेक्ट पनि पत्ता लगाउँछ अनि तिमीलाई के हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि यु विल वे आउट नेगेटिभ र पोजिटिभ कुन चाहिँ बढी छ एन्ड देन यु विल गो एन्ड सिफ्ट द ह्याट्स ओके सो इफ यु आर डुइङ एसेसमेन्ट टाइप अफ थिङ यु विल नेभर युज अ ब्ल्याक ह्याट फर्स्ट अब न्युट्रल प्रब्लम छ भने कुनै पनि न्युट्रल प्रब्लम छ भने अनबाइस्ड प्रब्लम छ भने यु विल अलवेज स्टार्ट विथ डेटा यो प्रब्लमको डेटा के छ what are the findings emotional कुरा नभएर you are dealing with a fact अनि त्यस पछाडी के हुन्छ त फ्याक्टलाई काउन्टरएक्ट गर्ने चाहिँ you have a negative thoughts again फ्याक्टले त यसो भन्छ तर यहाँ प्रब्लम हुन सक्छ नि त भन्ने कुराहरू आउँछ अनि फ्याक्टलाई काउन्टरएक्ट गरिसकेपछि येलो ह्याटले चाहिँ अब दुईटैलाई वे गर्छ फ्याक्ट यहाँ छ ओके दिस इज द डेटा त्यसपछि गएर ब्ल्याक ह्याटले यत्रो नेगेटिभिटी देखायो अब लेट्स सी हाउ अप्टिमिस्टिक वी आर भनेर चाहिँ you will again start solving the problems अर्को कुनै पनि इमोसनल प्रब्लम छ जस्तै भक्तपुरमा एउटा चाहिँ नेवारको बस्तीभित्र गएर चाहिँ बाटो एक्सपेन्सन प्रोसेस थियो भरे बाटोलाई छुएको मन्दिर छ अरे अब त्यो मन्दिरलाई भत्काउनु पर्छ भनेर डेटाले भन्छ किन भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ राति हुँदी बाटोमा गाडीहरू हिँड्दाखेरि मन्दिरलाई देखेन भने एक्सिडेन्ट हुने चान्सेस हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा डेटाले देखाएर हाई एक्सिडेन्ट भन्ने देखायो भने instead of just following that data what you can do you'll have to look at the emotional part पनि त्यो मन्दिर भत्काउँदाखेरि त्यहाँ लोकल मान्छेहरूको इमोसनमा श्रद्धामा के फरक पर्छ त does it really count to just demolish the temple or should we think other options भन्ने कुराहरू पनि आउँछ okay so there are many ways you can use the hat so with this I try to conclude actually I wanted to do a workshop on this thing of a time I know we couldn't do it okay I think I'm done with my time if you have any problems you can go home and do this thing I will give you a problem COVID-19 ले गर्दा तिमीहरूको exam रोकिएको छ what can be the proper solution for your exams just use 6 different hats and try to come up with that solution and see how funny it feels तिमी आफै एउटा ह्याटबाट अर्को ह्याटमा शिफ्ट गरेर तिमीले चाहिँ solution दिँदै गर्दाखेरि what happens is you find it very interesting. अब धेरैले चाहिँ यहाँ के भन्छ भने you are just talking about the process, but what is the solution? Go home and practice. तिमीले यो 6 वटा ह्याट लगाएर सबै कुरा लेखिसक्दाखेरि फाइनल कन्क्लुजनमा तिम्रो अलरेडी सोलुसन आइसकेको हुन्छ. You are already there with the solution. So this is a very, very effective process. This has been used by Apple use garcha, Microsoft use garcha, Cisco use garcha, IBM use garcha. So all big companies are Siemens use garcha, Nike will use this kind of thing. Even Toyota has started using this kind of concept. And you can use that big companies they can later Finland first grader 5-year kid they are practicing this 6-hat principle. Okay, so it can be used in individual purpose, group purpose, from very young age to a very well-defined company everywhere. So I hope I made you something about a problem solving. The takeaway thing is problems are there always. So never run away with the problem. Second thing is you need a proper approach to solve the problem. And the proper approach to solve the problem is the parallel approach, not a convergent approach. You need a parallel approach where you will be thinking in a problem or thinking about a problem all at the same time in the same way. It will reduce your confrontation, it will reduce your ego, it will reduce your time, and you'll have a high productivity and more constructive feedback out there. यदि तिमीले सबैको कुरा प्यारलल सुनेनौ भने why should I take part in the problem भन्ने कुरा पनि आउँछ कतिले. एउटा ग्रुपमा छ अरूले थुप्रैले सोलुसन दिएर बोलिरहेका हुन्छन्, मेरो कुरै सुनिदैन भने why should I involve in the problem, why should I try to solve the problem भन्ने पनि आउँछ. तर यसले के गर्छ भने everybody is solving the problem in the same way. Therefore each and every participant तिमीले भने पनि नभने पनि they will start participating. Okay, with this I'd like to conclude my talk and then hope you found it interesting.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. With this, we have come to an end with an amazing session. Thank you so much, Master Sir. So anyone has any quick questions, we will just deal with it, and then we will end it. Anyone has any questions regarding the 6 thinking hats? Anything, come on, anyone, anything, any questions, please bring it up to the floor and
if you don't have, that's good. I think I'm a good teacher then.
No doubt, sir. There is no doubt in that, of course.
Anyway, so, be in touch. If you don't have a problem, that's fine. Okay, if you don't have a question, that's fine. But go and try to think. Okay, there is a problem, COVID-19. There is no exams because of that. Try to use these 6 different hats and come up with a solution, and then see what can be the best solutions. Maybe you can discuss it sometime in your group. Thank you very much again. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you all, and all of you have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening, sir, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Thank you so much for teaching us about problem solving, because being youths of future, being leaders of future, I think being able to tackle different burning issues locally or globally, I think that is the main motto of community of problem solvers. And being a NASA Space App participant, I hope you all got a great opportunity to learn from our Dr. Mahendra Thapa, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Sansi.
Thank you so much, sir. No questions? Then
excuse me, sir.
I think he left.
Excuse me, sir.
Lunga, I guess he left, right now. So if you have any questions,
Yeah, I got disconnected.
Mail
I got disconnected.
How was it?
Yeah, sure.
So I think shall I call him? Or shall we just you can send email, okay? You can send email to Dr. Mahendra, and then he will be able to you could have asked questions. Why didn't you ask questions? The talk was very interesting. I think okay, fine. I think Lungma, was there any question? Yes. Hello. Okay.
Yes, sir. So I was going to ask him, but at the same time, my connection got disconnected.
Okay, we can send an email. Okay, or if there is some question, then we can discuss. I think we can discuss here in the group for some time, for some moment. Or what shall we do? I think we have to start the next session as well, right? So Lungma, what you can do is that send sir email, okay? And I shall write down the email of sir. The email ID of sir is thapamahendra2006@gmail.com.
Thank you, sir.
I'll be writing it here, okay, to everyone. So please note this one. And then you can write him an email, okay? Yeah, good, yes. thapamahendra2006@gmail.com. Okay.
Next session now, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Jitendra sir, I shall leave now because today and tomorrow too I have another class. So
Okay, Sarva, it's good to see you here, okay?
yeah, thank you so much, sir, for
Okay.
organizing this good event.
And then what we'll be doing is that we'll be using the 6 hairs in our team, and then we'll be rehearsal. What you can say? We will do a rehearsal
We
on.
will practice thinking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Practice thinking. Just like Sir said that even a single person can use 6 hairs, but
Yes,
let us
sir.
do practice in a format that one will be waiting. A matter for what you use that word, very nice word. I don't know that one, but symbolically we can use, some of us can use white hat, some of us can use yellow hat, and then can discuss, okay? And we are here, we are 6 in numbers. We are 6
Yes,
in
sir.
numbers in a team, and we can wear, each of us can wear one hat in one day, then turn it around in that way. And then in a COPSN also we can practice this one. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. I
Okay,
hope you all will have a good session.
okay, Sarva, thank you.
Thank you, Sarvashri, for attending.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.